Are you ready, Shitra?
Yep.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this meeting. Please join me in welcoming our Toastmaster of the day, Shitra.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hassan. From the recent times, we know that it's important to have a good leadership team who will bring us to a bright future. And today is all about how to take us our Tigertales session into a brighter future in the next semester. Today's meeting will be different than the usuals. Our first part of the meeting will have our table topic session, and the second part will be conducting our elections for the e-board for the next term. And before we move on to the table topic session, I would like to ask Tanay, do you guys want a breakout room to discuss about the election during while the table topic session is happening?
Yeah, I would require Alex, Preetham, Xavier, and Hassan in the breakout room.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just create a breakout room. Just give me a moment. Alex, Preetham, Tanay, and Hassan, right?
And Xavier.
Xavier. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, the rest of us will be having a fun session in the table topics.
We'll be back soon.
Yep. So we'll be breaking into 2 rooms. Bye, guys. Hi. It's just the 6 of us.
There was I got an invitation to breakout room too. I declined it. Was that the right thing to do?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like we all got the invite, which is why there's now 5 of us.
Now how do I bring the move to
Maybe tonight we'll kick them out.
how do I move them out? Oh, I should have learned to do that.
Come back.
We need Ajita, Deb, and Matt. Matt is here. So just Ajita. Roberta is not here. Okay, how do I bring them back?
How do I bring them?
Grant, do you have idea on how this works?
No, I've never used breakout rooms except for the participant side.
So I want to bring these people out. Okay, how do I do that?
What does that do? Okay, it will. This will.
Oh, then we'll join.
Yeah.
Do you all want to go to the breakout room too?
Oh, sure.
Can you re-invite us?
Send a message.
Yeah, I can send move to. No, this is breakout 2. Oh,
Yeah, we are in breakout too.
Yeah, there's 3 of us.
where is Sarah?
She left.
Oh God.
Okay, so table topics with 3 people?
Yeah, it's more of a conversation than a table topic session. I have no idea. Move to breakout room 1. No. Brendan 2. They're here.
Yes, they got the invite, but
How do I?
they declined it or something.
How do I close one? If I join. Oh,
Roberta's back.
yeah. Assign to breakout room 2. And if I join breakout room 2. Okay.
Oh, good. There's more people.
We accidentally created a second breakout room that we need to create. Like, let's just join them instead.
Yeah, we didn't know if this is where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I decided to ask questions, but then we're like, well, whatever. Let's just go where they are. It's easier. Trying to get you to come back.
Now we need a Grant to come here, right?
He also left.
Okay.
Did he not?
He's not here, I guess.
Ah, Grant.
Probably the only one in the room now.
How do
If he
I-
leaves, does the whole thing collapse? Is that like our base structure?
Yeah.
No, I think so. If we have the host, then it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I want. Okay, why is Grant not joining us?
He's being stubborn. He's up first for table topics.
All the people who want part of the election discussion, please come to. Please come to.
Oh, please. Come to
Do
group
it
2 now.
So do you also record the breakout room, or it's only the main session which gets
I
recorded?
have no idea.
Well, it did say this meeting's being
It's
recorded.
recording. Yeah.
Maybe it's recording the main room and we're getting nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Grant is here.
Oh, good.
Amita is here. Yeah, we got all.
Yay.
Hi, I'm back.
Yay. We
Okay,
thought you were
now-
just being stubborn.
Muffins for later days.
Okay, let's
Oh,
start
I'm
our table
muted.
topic session. Why are you not there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Are we starting?
Yep.
Oh, great. Welcome to Table Topics. It's magical.
Yay!
Yay! Where any of the three of you can participate. Right, and our other friends when they come back from their secret meeting. Table Topics is impromptu. As all of you know, we have no guests today. So let's dive into the roles that we have. We have no counter because he's in the secret meeting. Just don't use any filler words. For our grammarian tonight, we have Dr. Matthew Mack. Matt, please tell us about the word of the day, and that you can do your normal grammarian stuff too.
You're on mute. Matt, you're on mute.
He's trying to figure it out.
Matt, you're on mute.
He knows.
Okay.
All right, Matt, while you're figuring that out, let's hear from our timer, Dab, who just walked away.
I was going to grab a jacket, but it's fine.
All right, tell us about the timing rules.
So you get 1 to 2 minutes to answer whatever question gets thrown at you, and I will be using these multicolor books to help represent where we're at. So you'll get the green book at 1 minute, the yellowish orange one at 1.5 minutes, the red one at 2 minutes, and then you have 30 seconds to wrap up.
I can clap, I'm unmuted. Matt, you're unmuted. Congratulations. Please tell us what you're doing today as our grammarian.
All right. So the word of the day is flux. Flux means a state of change. So change is flux. A state of change is the noun flux. The first thing I thought of was the DeLorean, which operated via a flux capacitor. However, that's not going to help us tonight. So a sentence for flux. The wild flux of Rochester's temperatures have caused us to break the record for high and low temperature within the same 2 months. And this is true. Here. Flux. Use flux to win
I'm
the...
sorry. Just give me a moment. I think they're all out of the meeting. We can go back to the main room and we can have the table topic session, I guess. I'm so sorry.
How do we do that?
Okay.
I'm just doing it. Let's see.
So
You're
we
doing it
just-
for us.
Okay.
Oh,
Here
I
we
ruined it.
go.
Yeah, everybody's here.
Where's Sarah Francis?
They're on their way.
Oh, okay.
It's a long commute.
How to take her out of this? It'll take 13 seconds more for her to reach. Oh, she's here.
Traveling at the speed of light.
The box left before I could click on it, and then it was, oh, all kinds of, who knew what was going to happen? Because this meeting is in a state of flux.
Yay!
Hooray. 1 point for me. Thank you. Which brings me to my main point of table topics today. As humans, we are in a constant state. We are never the same person. And I remember a lovely tune from Pocahontas. It's about a river just around the river bend. She said I forgot the exact quote, but the something thing about rivers is you never set foot in the same river twice. Same thing with people. You never meet the same person twice. We're always changing, and we haven't seen each other legit in person, a lot of us, for quite a while. So there have been a lot of changes in each of us that have happened since we've last met together in one place. So my questions are all around that. And for that reason, because I'm talking about the changes that have been, yes, we have a word of the day, it is flux. And Matt talked about it, you were in the breakout. It is a state of change. So as humans, we are all in a state of flux, is an example of that word. Matt will be on top of it. Anyway, good thing our counter doesn't exist. Because my questions are about changes that have happened in your heart, in your mind, in your thinking, in your actions, I am going to ask the question before I have a volunteer. And because I was unable to update the software, I can only see 4 people at once. So if you'd like to answer the question, I will see chats that pop up. So if you could do me a favor and either call out someone whose hand is raised or pop it up in chat, then I can have your answers. So let's begin with my first question. What is something that you are glad to have read, and how did it transform you? What is something that you're glad to have read, and how did it transform you? Tanai.
Hello, everyone. So that's a very important question that I'm answering right now, because I had stopped reading since like few months ago, but in this lockdown I've started reading this book called Feeling Good, and I suffer from anxiety, as you all know, and I've talked to 700 people about it. So in that book has invoked a lot of like a flux of thoughts in me, in a sense that so the book deals the book, I am still reading that book, but the book deals with the main thing, which is the cognitive distortions that we have as humans, and some things that we just think that are not true, and then our negative thoughts guide us to feel a certain way. So that book has taught me that these are just thoughts, and these thoughts shouldn't make you feel bad because they are not true. Sometimes you just if somebody says something and you just make up a reason in your mind and of why they said it, and even though they didn't mean it, you just ruin your whole day based on that. And this book just guides you through what those cognitive distortions are and how to manage them and how to respond to them. So I am very grateful that I found this book, and if anybody can read it, if they have time, it's a 700 pages book. It's called Feeling Good by David Burns. So just check it out.
Thank you, Tanai. I had to take a second to write that down. If anyone else has book recommendations, please send them to me via chat. I read a lot. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to ask the question. I'm also very excited for the ways that you've grown over the time that we've known you, from shaking and being terrified of dogs to petting Jack and doing table topics. Our next question, for perhaps less ready type of people. What have you watched recently and how has it helped you grow? What have you watched recently and how has it helped you grow? All right, Matt, you got to unmute yourself. And then Kelly can vouch for if you use the word of the day.
All right. Technical difficulties. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You're echoey and in outer space.
Hey, Chitcher, can you kick out the other Matt?
Oh, get rid of this.
Or mute the other Matt.
Oh, themselves up. They went out? Yeah. Oh.
Do you think we should save that question for him and move on, or hang on a moment and wait for him?
Let's do that.
I can answer that question and you can ask my another question.
Yes. You want to answer this one, Preetam?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. It's yours.
I just want to see the timer. Who's the pick?
Deb.
Okay. Deb, I can't see you, so can you put the time in the chat? Okay, I hope she heard me. So I'll answer the question. What did I watch that helped me grow? One thing that fascinates me is extraterrestrial beings. So I watched this movie, documentary, that's a continuation of a documentary you can actually find on Netflix. The first documentary of this series is called Unacknowledged. It's on Netflix. You can watch that. The continuation of this documentary is what I saw 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's the most watched documentary. Over 3 million people have seen it. And this documentary is named Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. The subject of this documentary is about extraterrestrial beings and how humans have been in contact with extraterrestrial beings. This documentary provides an overview of how there has been intergalactic trade happening between governments, secret space programs, and everything. So what this documentary does is show us that there is this big thing going to happen in the next 4 to 5 years. where we have this coronavirus thing going on. And the next big thing that is going to be a big scare for humanity is this hoax alien invasion. So what the people in this documentary are trying to prove is this, that if any time a hoax alien invasion happens, it's because they have been in contact with these extraterrestrial beings, and they say that they are peaceful, highly evolved spiritual beings that want to help us. They are not a threat to us. They give protocols on how we as ordinary people can contact those extraterrestrial beings. And me and Ruchi also downloaded the app. It's $10, and they give the protocols on how we can contact, establish contact, and see for ourselves if extraterrestrial beings are peaceful or not. I am fascinated by this subject, and it helped me get a flux of ideas on how I could establish connections with different people living outside this planet. Back to the table topics, Master.
That is fascinating, Pritam. That is where Alicera is. We've figured it out. Is Matt back?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Matt, Pritam stole your question.
How's it going?
But you're welcome to the next one. I think you would be well equipped to answer this one as well.
All right, go for it. I can only see you. This is on my phone, but yeah, I'll do it. I'll take the physical challenge.
Okay. Fantastic. Then I will help with timing to help you keep on time. Your question, Matthew, is what have you thought about or reflected on, and what will you now do differently as a result?
Of what? What I thought about? Oh, as a result
Yeah, what
of...
have you thought about or reflected on recently, and what are you going to do differently now as a result of those meditations or thoughts?
Yeah. It was a bright sunny morning on Sunday when myself and a few others went out to sweep up some glass after the riots had happened Saturday night. And while I was there with my friend Matt and Alex, a young man on a bicycle rode up and he engaged in a conversation with us about all of it. And he was an African-American young man, and he said, "What are you guys doing here, cleaning this up? You know, it seems like whites started this, but blacks did it, and you're cleaning it up. I'm so confused," was basically kind of what he said. And it really got me reflecting on how conversation and discussion can create a flux in our heart state, and how important conversation, green yarn, okay. Conversation about hard things is what's necessary, and there's no quick and easy answer. There's no textbook solution to the racial tensions or to similarly large conundrums in our world. But we have to be able to have courageous conversations. And I was really impressed by this young man biking up to us and opening the conversation about all of it. And I want to do that and to be humble. And there's a humility that I learned in that too. Madam, table topics, master.
Thank you, Matt. I knew you would do fine with that topic. Although you can tell me later what you watched and how it helped you grow.
Schindler's List.
All right.
Sorry. I'll be quiet. It's hard to follow rules.
That's all right. I know. It's so hard. We'll just mute you remotely.
Hey.
Timer, Madam Timer, wherever you are. I don't have you on my screen. Do we have time for another question?
I believe we do. Probably one more question.
All right, I'm excited about this one. As all of you know, I'm quite crafty. Been making all kinds of things. What have you created or accomplished that reflects a change within you? What have you created or accomplished that reflects a change within you? Are you volunteering, Alex?
Mhm.
All right, Alex. Winner, winner. Question dinner.
Okay, I think Deb has to. There we go. All right, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the most exciting thing that I have created / accomplished in these past few weeks is I just hired the last person that I need to help for this summer and fall, helping to keep people housed through this whole COVID crisis and helping people with back rent and security deposits to help keep them in a safe place. And that reflects a huge change in me, because even 4 or 5 years ago, if I had attempted to do the same thing, I wouldn't have been the kind of person that I am in terms of being able to attract people to a cause that I'm working on, because I was so focused on myself and so focused on my accomplishments and my way of thinking. And this, I feel like I've been able to get to a much better place. I've gone through this flux of being able to empathize and to help people to come along with me. And so I've gone from being a person who thinks he's a leader with no followers to a person who's humble enough to recognize that he's okay at leading, who's got a couple people who are willing to follow him along into whatever adventure is coming this summer, with the crazy amount of people who will need our help and the crazy amount of funding that we've been entrusted with to get it done. It's pretty cool. I'm Toastmaster.
I like getting to clap out loud for reals. Alex, thank you. I will gladly follow you many places. That was our table topics portion. Mr. Grammarian, I'm not sure if you were here for Predom's portion. I will vouch for his word of the day. Did everyone else use it? He gave us a thumbs up. All right. I can't see him. Okay, good. Thanks. Sideways, thumbs up. And Madam Timer, was everyone within the time limit?
Yes, they were.
Fantastic. Then you have 4 choices. Alex, why are you upside down? You have 4 choices. Please send your votes in to me, and I will, at some point, perhaps after the elections, tell you about our glorious winner, which means you have to stick around for the elections, even if you don't think that you have a vested interest. You are interested because this is your club and you must follow. With that, I will hand it over to Tanai, who is leading the voting process.
Hi, so I will not be leading the voting process. I'm giving the control over to Alex, and Alex will be leading the elections. So, Alex, can you unmute yourself? And
Hi, everybody. So I will be taking us through our elections, but I definitely want to give kudos to Tanai. He has been working hard for the last, really 2 weeks of getting in touch with you guys, learning what roles that you guys want to be in, and doing some evaluations of what's going to be best for the club. and how we can keep the club moving forward. And so Tanai has presented a slate. It's not totally complete, so if you haven't stepped up for an officer role yet, you will still have an opportunity. And now is a great opportunity for you to do that. But we will work our way down through the officer roles. I'll explain what the role is, and then I'll present Tanai's recommendation. We'll have a chance to have nominations from the floor, so if somebody wanted to nominate themselves for the role, they can do that, and then we'll have a vote. And I don't know if everyone here, one of the official things that we need to do as a club is make sure that we have a quorum. Is our VP membership here? Can we get a report of how many paid members we have right now?
We have around 11 members that have signed up.
Okay. Is everyone here a paid member, more or less?
Not everyone. I don't see everyone. I have a list. Let me see.
Be paying.
Just
soon.
check the list once.
I'll add me.
So Alasera is a paid member. Ashutosh, Bhakti is here. Grant is here. Hassan is here. Sarah is here. Xavier 5. Chitra is here 6. Deb is 7. Ajita is 8.
Am I not paid?
Did I mix paid?
Ooh.
I thought I did.
There is Ajita, Alasera, Ashutosh, me, you, Deb, Grant, Hassan, Preetam, Sarah, Xavier. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we have a quorum here. A quorum is more than 50% of the paid membership. So we have a quorum here. If you didn't pay, like me, boo, I can't believe that I didn't pay because I could have sworn I did it first thing, but here I am. And so I'm not actually a paid member, but I will be, as a club mentor, leading us through the elections. I won't be voting, so that is fine. So I'll start, and we'll work our way down from the top. So I'll start with the club president role. The club president is really about the visionary leadership of the club. So they're presiding over a club e-board meetings. They're presiding over the end of our club meetings and talking through about where the club is going, where the club is. And so that's what the president's role is. It's important that they've got some experience with the club and that they've got some experience with leadership in Toastmasters. So Tanai, as the immediate past president, suggested Hassan as our president for next semester. I'll pause now to hear if there's any nominations from the floor. And Toastmasters rule says I have to do this 3 times. So are there any nominations from the floor? Are there any nominations from the floor? I can see all of you, so just raise your hand or whatever if you want to talk, but I'm not hearing no nominations from the floor. We'll have a vote by hand clap if everyone is on board with Hassan being our president for the next year.
Oh, he decided he would do that.
I don't know.
Wonderful. We're very excited to have Hassan be our president. The next role is VPE. Anyone who has done this role will know that it is absolutely true that this is one of the hardest roles in Toastmasters. And Sarah can definitely attest to the fact that this is probably one of the hardest leadership roles in Toastmasters, that there's a lot to do. You're helping to put together the agendas and make sure that all those roles are filled. And you're also responsible for helping each individual member accomplish their leadership and communication goals. So now obviously a lot of that is just making sure somebody's got a mentor, but there's a lot that goes on with this role between mentoring and putting together the agenda and helping folks accomplish their roles. And Tanai's recommendation for this role I'm going to have to make sure that I've got it right. So our VPE for this semester, Tanai suggested, should be Xavier. So Xavier's being a real glutton for punishment, coming back around for another round as our VPE. He's experienced, and he'll be able to help us make sure that this semester's meetings are excellent. I'll pause now for any nominations from the floor. Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Okay. Hearing none, we'll have a vote by hand clap to ring in Xavier as our VPE. Woohoo! All right. So our next role is VP membership. The VP membership is responsible for, so there's kind of a, this is kind of a 1-2 punch. So you have the VP PR, which we'll talk about later. This is a person that gets out there and brings people into the meeting. And then once they get into the meeting, that's when the VP membership pounces. And they're the one that talks them through the process of, here's how you become a member, give me your email, I'll send you along the details, here's how you can pay, and make sure that those dues make it off to Toastmasters International. So that's the VP membership's role. And stepping up into that role for this semester, Tanai has suggested Bhakti. We're excited to have her be a part of that kind of core leadership team. She's been an important member of this club, and she served as treasurer this round. So we're hoping to have Bhakti. I'll pause now to hear any nominations from the floor. Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, we will have a vote by hand clap to ring in Bhakti as our VP membership. Woo. Wonderful. So now we have reached our last vice president role. This role is going, Tanai suggested and Preetam volunteered. For what it's worth, all of the people who have been nominated so far agreed to be volunteered and nominated for these roles. We're not just throwing their names out there. So Tanai suggested and Preetam agreed to step in to help out with the VP PR role. It's something that I believe he's done before. Preetam's done this role before. He's served in a lot of officer roles with our Toastmasters Club. He's one of our key members that helps keep the Tigertales DNA intact. So grateful for Preetam. I'll pause here for any nominations from the floor. Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, we will ring in Preetam as our VP PR, Vice President of Public Relations, doing outreach into the community. Now. Woo. All right, thank you, Preetam. Next up, we have our Sergeant at Arms, who for these online meetings will not have very much to do. The Sergeant at Arms is responsible for getting the rooms set up and just making sure that we've got all the name tents in all the right places. We've got all the supplies for our Toastmasters meetings, carting around our Toastmasters belongings. And so for these meetings, not a whole lot going on. But Sergeant at Arms is also a part of the e-board. And we currently do not have, yes, Sarah, we should see if there are any nominations from this screen. We don't have anyone suggested for this role. For our online meetings, it may not be a really critical role, but it's an opportunity to sit on the e-board. And once we get our in-person meetings back up and running again in the fall, hopefully, it'll be a chance to serve the club. So I will pause for any nominations from the floor for this role. It's also an opportunity to go to Toastmasters Leadership Institutes. It's officer training. It's a great way to spend a weeknight learning about Toastmasters. Any nominations from the floor? Could be a real easy job if we only have online meetings. Any nominations from the floor? Okay, hearing none. I'm not sure what we do from there, but we can leave that spot open and we can keep talking to members. This role doesn't necessarily have to go to a student. So do some thinking, and the president is free to nominate officers after the fact. So if you want to jump in as the Sergeant at Arms before we get the officer list going, talk to Hassan and he can get you on the officer list. Secretary and Treasurer are the last two roles. They're both important roles. The Secretary takes minutes from the executive committee meetings, and this helps remind everybody of what happened and takes notes and makes sure that everybody's getting their job done. So Tanai has recommended himself as secretary, so he's going to be around at least through August and hopefully December. So Tanai is up for that role. And I will pause now for any nominations from the floor. Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, we can vote by hand clap for Tanai. And last up is our treasurer. Bhakti has been our faithful treasurer for this semester. And for this next semester, Tanai has suggested Chitra. She is on her way out in December, but she has agreed to serve as treasurer again after taking a trip up through our Toastmasters officer ranks and doing a great job at each stop along the way. So Chitra has been nominated as our treasurer, and I'll pause now for any nominations from the floor or the screen. Any nominations from the screen? Nominations from the keyboard? Hearing none, let's have a hand clap for, vote by a hand clap for Chitra to be our new treasurer. Wonderful. So that gets us a nearly full slate of officers. We'll want to have a Sergeant at Arms in place before, oh, Ajita? Okay, so Ajita has nominated herself. Any other nominations from the floor? All right, well then let's have a vote by hand clap for Ajita to sign up to be our Sergeant at Arms. Wonderful. Now, Ajita, how long are you in the Rochester area
I'm not in the Rochester area presently, but
okay.
I think till the online meetings go on, I'll be there. I'll be there in college till August.
Okay, all right, that's fine, and we'll have you, and we'll probably have some Toastmasters officer training that'll probably happen virtually. So that'll be your primary responsibility, is making sure that you get to that officer training. So glad to have you, and now we have a full officer slate. This is a tremendous privilege to serve as a Toastmasters officer, and it is a wonderful service to this club. We all know the value of what Toastmasters can do for a person's life. We've seen people completely change who they are for the better because of this club, and this club couldn't exist without people stepping up to be officers. So thank you, each one of you. Let's have a big round of hand waving for our new officers. We'll have an officer induction sometime early in the new year, where we'll hand the ceremonial gavel off from our current officers to our new officers, but let's have a big round of hand waving for our new officer slate. All right. Having been fairly certain that I have followed all the rules of an election, we've got our new officers. I'll go ahead and put them into our chat, and then so that we don't lose track of them. Tanai, you're our secretary now, so you can keep track of them. And I'll hand the meeting back over to our Toastmaster for the evening, who is Chitra, I think? Yes. I'll hand the meeting back over to our Toastmaster and our Chitra.
Thank you, Alex. I think everybody has voted their favorite table topics winner to Sarah, and she'll announce the winner. Okay, she has texted me. Let's do a drum roll for the winners of this. Matt and Tanay have a tie.
Fight to the death.
Sorry?
They each have to answer one sudden death question, and winner takes the virtual chocolate.
Maybe they can play a game of chess and decide.
I am good for it. I can do that.
So that was our session planned for today, and before the next week when the new team hands over and starts working on how to lead the team for the next session, I would like to thank few people before that. As a president, I was welcomed into Toastmasters last summer, and then the journey has been great so far. I've learned many things out of it, and with being a president, I got to meet many opportunities to represent our club in the campus just before in the early of this year, and then we know of the whole pandemic, we all switched together and we had a discussion on which platform we should be on. Alex, Preetham, Tanay, and the e-board and all jumped in, and we were trying to figure out what software would be the best for us to work on and how would we bring in new people. And I was grateful that everybody took part in that and helped us how to move to a new session. And I would like to thank the Sergeant at Arms, Hassan, who has been helping us conduct even the live online sessions, having a physical board behind him saying that I've been doing my job even when it's online. I would like to also thank Bhakti, who has been taking care of our money safely, and she's always doing her job on time. The VP PR member, Angelica, and VP membership, and have always been looking forward to find new ways to bring in new members. Even during this pandemic, it was great. I would like to thank the secretary, Grant, who has been juggling studies, now job, and still sends out mail every week without fail. And I honestly don't know how he does that. And the most important part, who I should be thanking, is Sarah, the VP Education. This is the most difficult task, and during this pandemic too, she has been trying the hardest to find in and fill in roles, and even filling it in roles while the meeting is happening. She last week, I remember there was Alex was speaking, and suddenly we needed an evaluator. She rightly jumped in and yeah, we can have a depth evaluator. She has always been agile and been motivated to do even during the meetings. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody who has been volunteering even during these trying times to make this meetings a wonderful time for us, all of us, to join and have a great session together. Thank you, guys. And since there are no new members, I think we can adjourn the meeting. Where's my recording?